when I came in, it's a little bit more of like, what should that content be to begin with? So that strategy at the beginning, but also like having this like, hey, if you have a good idea, like, do it.
So one thing I'd love for, we'll go around here for each of you to chime in on is how active you are on LinkedIn. And I'm a big believer in using people to help kind of build your brand and drive company demand, as opposed to, the boring webinar updates or go download this piece of content from the company page. So Erin, how did you get started, on LinkedIn? How does that translate to what you all are doing at Predictive Index, and how are you helping, generate demand, by way of your LinkedIn activity?
Social's not a huge part of our strategy. We have a lot of other things going on. So I would say if you look at the company page, it's not our biggest muscle. However, I love posting on LinkedIn. I post 4 or 5 times a week, and I've done some trainings for our employees and our executives, and we have some executive presence as well, posting, every single day and starting to have some real inbound interest coming in through that, which is amazing. I love it. I think it's important when I work with, freelance clients other than PI, I tend to lean in heavily. The reason we don't go as heavy is because we have some other, pokers in the fire, so to say. We're really heavy on revenue enablement, partner enablement. So we have a really strong partner acquisition engine and partner enablement engine going for us, which helps us really communicate and get attention at scale, as well as some other things we have going on.
Gotcha. So Camille, without giving the secret sauce away, I feel like every time I open up my LinkedIn feed, I see something crazy and different from Dooley from a whole bunch of employees. So how have you all gone about it at Dooley?
Yeah, I'll say like huge props to Mark, who is our VP of marketing, for just like championing creators. So there were just creators on our team, including him. And so because of that, like we just gave them like a lot of leeway and a lot of just like freedom and creativity to create things, and then would come in with like production help. And then so when I came in, it's a little bit more of like, what should that content be to begin with? So that strategy at the beginning, but also like having this like, hey, if you have a good idea, like, do it, and that helps us like run really fast. So for instance, Ding, he'll make something in like 2 hours, and it'll start as like a seed comment or something. He's like, I'm doing it, I'm running with it. Great. And so him and like Ryan are great, just like on the creation side, and are both have sales backgrounds. So that's the other thing is having it come from the subject matter experts is important. And kind of like Devin says, like you actually like don't want the comment of like your marketing is great, right? Like you want the comment of like, you guys understand sales, or like this is like the champion like for us, you know what I mean? Like you to be invisible. And so so that's been like a push for me, is sort of like identifying those creators, but specifically like subject matter experts, and kind of like pushing back a little bit when we have opportunities like to work with creators, but they're not that subject matter expert. Still having that be a thing, but having it mainly come from sales. So Ding, Ryan, and then our CEO, getting him involved, who's also involved on social. And I think that's huge to have a CEO who has a very strong point of view. That was like a big reason why I joined, is he was a salesperson, he was a sales leader, and then like had this problem, right? And so created a solution like around his problem. Like that was a primary reason why I ended up joining. And so empowering those people, having a content calendar like set up too, so kind of what's coming down the road, and having like those points of like G2 is something that's like now referenced, like because that's like a big push for us every time that we get G2 awards, and we have like a big strategy around that. But it comes back to creativity, like getting the whole team involved, going with the best idea, and being unbiased and where that comes from, but then also empowering like the subject matter experts on your team. And if you are selling or marketing to marketers or sales or HR, like you have those people on your team that you can tap into, and that's like the easiest way to get started.
So Devin, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question, but still related to the general question. So since you are kind of writing the book when it comes to this at Gong, how do you get, your leadership team to not only be on board with that, but also get employees to like feel empowered to, get out there on LinkedIn? Because it's tough.
Yeah, it is. So I always say how lucky I am because our CEO used to be a CMO. So he gets marketing. He's also his, desire to build a category, right? So it's coming from the top at Gong, and it has to be from the executive level. Like you're not going to be director below and get the exec team to be like, yeah, let's invest in LinkedIn when it's hard to, attribute, or you don't see it all in the dashboard per se. So I'm very grateful there. Rudy, our CMO, obviously believes in brand and content marketing, but it really comes down to empowerment and enablement. So empowerment is showing people, yes, it's okay to do this, and telling them that it's okay to do this, right? So Amit, our CMO, our CEO, he has like, I don't know, 20, 30,000 followers. He writes on LinkedIn all the time. So does our CMO. And so they see it from the top, like, oh, our executive team is doing this, so it's okay to do, and in fact, supported, right? It's not like you always have to tell them, like, I actually don't know if anyone's ever at Gong said you should post on LinkedIn or please post on LinkedIn. We have times where we prompt the team with like, hey, this big news came out. Like, if you want, you can post it, but we don't have like regulations. Like, I don't have time to like, proofread people's posts to make sure it's on brand or whatever. It's like on brand at Gong is being authentic and being who you are, mistakes and all. And so empowering is like showing them it's okay. The enablement part is what Erin said, which is like making it really easy for them to do and showing them how. So I started with just quarterly, every quarter I jump on a lunch and learn. Like, hey, I'm the content guy. You might have seen me around LinkedIn. If we haven't met yet, it's great to chat with you. I'm going to go over why our strategy at Gong is on LinkedIn. So it's like really high level, so people understand why we're investing in it. And then the back half of that is just some really quick tips, like, hey, if you're new to LinkedIn, or if you kind of want to build a brand, or if you don't even know what that means, but you want to understand that better, here's like 2 to 5 minutes on just some like high level stuff. And then my follow-up is, okay, raise your hand when we're in person, or now, which is in the Zoom chat. I'm like, say yes if you want to join a 30-minute session where you can ask questions. I'll walk you through like 10 tips to really get you started, and it's like more in depth. And every quarter we have about 40 people that say yes to that, and like 20 show up to that session. We recorded obviously in Gong, but you get someone every quarter, like 2 or 3 people really start to take it seriously, right? They're writing weekly, they're writing, daily almost. And so it starts to catch momentum, right? You see the person next to you posting on LinkedIn, getting 20, 30 likes, getting some comments, some getting a deal out of it. And so it kind of just catches on as people see it. And what's cool is like, that's how Sarah Brazier got started. She was in the very first Lunch and Learn, and she asked some questions, started writing a post, and she just took off because she had all the skills. I didn't have anything to do with it except for like that slight nudge to just like jump in the pool. And then she's been crushing ever since. And there's, I don't know, dozens of Gongsters who either write their own kind of like unique point of view in their own content, but there's hundreds that will say, oh yeah, Gong has a Gong Labs, let's share, talk about that. Or, a new, funding announcement, getting some, award, whatever it is. And then the last kind of quick tip I'll say is there's a My Company tab on LinkedIn. I don't know if folks know this. You can go in there, put content in there, like prompts, and share that with the team. So even with people like they want to get started, but they're not really comfortable, there's prompts with like 4 or 5 different things they can go talk about. Everyone always changes it a little bit, because the last thing I want also is like 100 Gongsters copying and pasting the exact same thing and kind of like spamming LinkedIn. We try to avoid that.